Well, let's now go to Westpac, Australia's first bank and its very first company. In short, Westpac has been backing Australia for more than 200 years. It was then backed itself by the Governor Lachlan Macquarie, who said, in time, not too far distant, the bank will gradually flourish to benefit the country at large. Banks, you see, are cornerstones in our economy. Without banks, individuals and innovation simply can't flourish. And it is with that sense of historical perspective that as Chief Executive Anthony Miller backed this campaign.
We've been part of this country since 1817, so over 200 years, and our success is inextricably linked with the success of Australia. And so the way I see my job, the way I think Westpac needs to operate is with the community, supporting the community, and this Back Australia campaign, in my mind, is a tremendous initiative because we need to reinforce and support each other, reinforce and support the Australian economy and the community, and really grow the country as best we can.
So, Anthony, do you think that even the fact we need a campaign such as this right now, that it says something maybe that there's a little cynicism in Australians' minds about backing Australian products and services?
I think you've hit on something really important there, Ross, which is a slight degree of cynicism or perhaps indifference to the quality of what we do and how we go about things in Australia relative to overseas. And I think the thing that I'm drawn to, and I think this program that you and the team have championed, which is Let's Back Australia, brings a little bit of that national pride. I mean, it is something that we should be proud of, which is we live in the best country in the world, no doubt about it. And I think we need to reinforce that by supporting Australia, supporting Australian businesses. And so the way I think about it is that this is just asking people and drawing on what we know is there, which is a pride in this country, a pride in what we've achieved, but more importantly, get everyone galvanised around the opportunity that's ahead of us. And the opportunity, I think, for Australia at the moment is quite profound because we represent a location of consistency, good transparency, good regulation, an environment where people should invest. It could be a place where a lot more talent comes. And so I feel like it's actually, let's grab this opportunity and we should be proud of what we have and going after it.
One aspect of this campaign is a challenge around Australian-made goods. Now, you not only back Australian households through mortgages or through credit cards, but also you see firsthand Australian businesses and entrepreneurs that you also back as a bank. So just explain, do you think really maybe they're underappreciated by many Australians?
Absolutely right, and that is one of the privileges of the job I have, but also the position this bank is in. We get to see what's going on out there in Australia, and the innovation and the resilience and the sheer tenacity of businesses in Australia is quite remarkable, actually. And I was only surprised, surprised that I was surprised, Ross, at just the level of innovation that I'm seeing, for example, in regional Australia. The way businesses need to solve challenges in front of them because of the tyranny of distance and remoteness, they just simply find a way to get it done. And I think what we also don't appreciate is that the quality of what is made and the quality of what is grown and the quality of the service proposition in Australia is second to none. I think it's all too easy to think that it's better from overseas. The answer is actually, in almost every instance, it isn't. And so what I'm really drawn to is how do we support more of our businesses in Australia capturing the opportunities in front of them. And one of the areas, for example, that we've been really invigorated by is we've set up a fund supporting start-up or scale-up businesses owned and operated by women. And it's been remarkable, some of the innovation and some of the solutions they're coming up with, and more importantly, some of the opportunities that we can now finance and support with that fund. It certainly only highlights to me that if you go looking for it, you'll be surprised at what we're achieving and what we're doing out there.
And so do you think there are more policies that government, even business, could adopt to give them incentive or encouragement to buy more Australian-made goods?
Well, I think that's a great challenge, and I think there is certainly disciplines that we should set in terms of government contract arrangements should have a localisation content. I think we already have some of that discipline set through the defence program, where again we're seeing some very interesting local services and products that are being provided. I do think it is something where it's both a combination of businesses such as ourselves buying from local service providers, and we're very focused on that. I think it is also very important on government and regulators to be insisting on, not to the discrimination of international alternatives, but really encouraging and prioritising where they can, local suppliers, local products, local services. And then I think importantly, what you're doing here with this program, which is sort of galvanising that innate pride and that confidence that we have in we live in the best country in the world, getting everyone behind that and encouraging people to spend a bit more money on Australian businesses and Australian services. And, you know, the analytics from Westpac Economics highlighting that if every Australian just spent $100 of what they're spending today, they prioritise what they're spending today in favour of an Australian business, then the outcome for the country is quite profound. Enormous a number of jobs created and maintained, and some $16–17 billion of GDP growth realised immediately.
And maybe it's those small amounts that people don't realise, that it's relatively small amounts, if kept in this country, that can have a significant knock-on effect for our economy.
You're absolutely right, and that's, again, it highlights it's not a undue challenge to say, to the extent of your weekly budget or your monthly budget, if you reallocate $100 into an Australian-owned business or product or service, and the economic outcome is an increase of $16 billion in GDP, not to mention increased revenue, taxes, jobs, which then has that self-fulfilling, positive reinforcing effect on the community. It's absolutely where we've got to go, and I think, again, to sort of celebrate and acknowledge what you guys are doing here, which is, you know, this is the way we back Australia, and it doesn't have to be an impost upon people. It's simply galvanising around the fact that if we do a little bit more, spend a little bit more on Australian businesses, we can achieve an enormous amount. And importantly, reward that innovation, reward that resilience for our small businesses and frankly, any enterprise in Australia.
Anthony Miller, great to chat to you today. It's always good to catch up. Many thanks for your time.
Thanks very much, Ross. Real pleasure to be with you.